Good morning, children. In this chapter, poverty as a challenge, we have discussed many issues of poverty. How poverty become a challenge for the nation and what are the causes of poverty? What are the anti-poverty measures government has taken? So here today we are going to discuss about the challenges we are going to face again or we are going to face forward. So we know that the poverty has certainly declined in India. It has come down. Poverty has come down in India certainly, but despite the progress, so that the poverty reduction or poverty coming down in any nation is a way of progress. So even though there is progress, still India is facing the problem with poverty. It has declined the number, but still poverty exists in our country. So that we can say completely the poverty has not been eliminated or completely poverty has not been removed from our country. So it is still a compelling challenge before the nation or before the government. So there are many disparities in poverty are visible between the rural and urban areas. Okay, in the different states we can say that poverty in different forms of poverty exists in the rural and urban areas, and state-wise and even the region-wise also poverty in different forms we can find. Okay, poverty still exists in our country. So some certain social and economic groups in the country, we can find out economic groups or social groups are facing more problems of poverty. That means these groups are vulnerable to poverty. Okay, so they are prone to poverty or vulnerable to poverty. Particular groups, not the entire society or the country is facing the same problem. We can say poverty reduction is expected to make better progress in the next 10 to 15 years. That is the objective of the government. In the coming 10 to 15 years, poverty should be eliminated completely from the country. That is the aim of our government. So here this would be possible mainly due to the higher economic growth. We know economically when people are developed, people are progressed, then only poverty can be eliminated. We have already studied poverty does not only exist in the form of food. Poverty is also lack of food, lack of shelter, lack of education facilities, lack of health facilities. All these are coming under poverty only. So increasing stress on universal free elementary education. Well, our government is giving the priority one thing for education. So elementary education should be provided free of cost to the children in our country. That is one reason. In that way we can reduce the poverty. So population growth rate also has to be reduced. Another thing here, increasing empowerment of women. Okay, so we have studied already that providing the many of the economic facilities arranged by the government through cooperative societies or any other self-help groups, etc. Empowering the women. So these are all can be done for the elimination of poverty, and so that economically weaker sections, like especially the backward castes or economically weaker women. Okay, so women are also facing such problems. So these category or these groups of people, if we are bringing forward, poverty can be eliminated. So official definition of poverty, however, captures only a limited part of what poverty really means to people. You know, officially when the government takes account that officially poor people or poverty means, according to the government, they are who are very backward in economy or very backward in financially. So those people are considered poor. So here we can find out about the minimum subsistence level. Okay, if the people do not have minimum subsistence level food and shelter, clothing, etc. Okay, so mostly government does not consider education also as a reason of poverty. So here, according to the government, most they are concentrating poverty means food, lack of food, shelter, and clothing concerns. Okay, here we need to broaden the concept of your poverty into a human poverty. Also, we can find large number of people may have been able to feed themselves. So they may have food one time or twice in a day. They may have food, but they do not have education. So poverty is not only about food. They may have food once or twice in a day. They are able to have themselves food, but do they have education or shelter or health care or job security? There is no security of job also in the COVID situation now presently. Contemporary issues, we know that there is no job security. Many people lost the job also, and even the private sector, especially in the private sector, or self-confidence, they lose the self-confidence. Are they free from the caste and gender discrimination? So is the practice of child labor still common? We can find many shops and many construction sites also. We can still find the child labor. Still it exists. Worldwide experience shows that with the development, the definition of what constitutes poverty also changes nowadays. So poverty is not only about food. These all matters are considered when we are talking or discussing about poverty. So eradication of poverty is always a moving target. We know that hopefully we will be able to provide the minimum necessary in terms of only income to all people, but all the at the end of the next decade, in the coming 10 to 15 years, our government is planning to eradicate poverty. So that means we need to, government has to provide free education, job facilities, and health care, etc. All these are coming under poverty. So here these are the necessary terms, not only the income level, increasing the income level, providing all these facilities, education and health facilities. So these are also considered as poverty. Okay, so here the bigger challenge that still remain providing health care in our country. We know large number of people who are unable to get the health facilities when they fall sick. And achieving gender equality is another important problem. You know, our country has gender discrimination. Okay, so women always are targeted for this such kind of anti-social elements or groups. Okay, so the dignity of the poor, that is another important factor. We can think about the rich are becoming more richer and poor are becoming more poorer, and the poor people do not have a dignified life in our society. So these will be even bigger tasks. So finding out solution for all these problems are a bigger task before the government. So eliminating poverty is not a simple thing, that even though government is planning to achieve this elimination, complete wipeout of poverty within 10 or 15 years. So it's a biggest, it is one of the biggest challenges before the government. So this chapter is entered here. So what we have discussed here, the different challenges of poverty exists in our country.